Shakespeare's plays have attracted audiences in big, sophisticated cities and in small, rural towns. Shakespeare's plays were actually entertainment in the Old West and were presented in the American colonies. And around the world today, there are theaters that are dedicated to presenting the works of Shakespeare. Well, tonight, in humble Glenelg, Maryland, in the pastoral campus of Glenelg Country School, in the theater in the woods designed by students, just following the victorious game of the field hockey team, and just before the adventurous haunted trail, we present a compilation of Shakespeare scenes in All the World's a Stage.
Shall be our stage, this hawthorn brake our tiring house, and we will do it in action as we will do it before the Duke. Gentles, perchance you wonder at this show, but wonder on till truth make all things plain.
Get your apparel together, good strings to your beards, and new ribbons to your pumps, and every man look o'er his part. And most, dear actors, eat no onions nor garlic, for we are to utter only sweet breath. No more words, away. Go away!
William Shakespeare, the greatest English poet, was born in the tiny market town of Stratford-upon-Avon in 1564. We traditionally celebrate his birthday on April 23rd.
Happy birthday, dear Shakespeare! Happy birthday to you!
Although there's no written record of this fact, we do know that Shakespeare was christened in Holy Trinity Church, Stratford, April 26th, and was accustomed at the time to baptize babies 3 days after their birth.
Interestingly enough, it is also a fact that 52 years later, exactly, Shakespeare died at Stratford on April 23rd, 1616. And he is buried under the floor of the same Holy Trinity Church where he was christened.
Get on with it, will you?
Don't interrupt if you please, or turn will come. We are here today not to celebrate Shakespeare the immortal poet, nor Shakespeare the playwright, nor Shakespeare the theater manager, nor even Shakespeare the husband and father, though he was all these things. Rather, we are here today to present to you, in his own words, Shakespeare's first love, the theater.
All the world's a stage.
Not yet.
Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Tradition has it that at the age of 19, Shakespeare left his wife, Anne Hathaway, and his 3 small children in the care of his parents at Stratford and traveled on foot 90 miles to London town, the center of the English Renaissance and home of her first theaters.
All the world's a stage!
Not yet, Jacquees. You must wait until your cue.
I would that I could bind up my love's tongue and bring her silently.
Tradition also tells us that Will Shakespeare's very first job was to hold the horses of the wealthy playgoers. Very soon, however, he transitioned into the juvenile, then the character roles.
Scholars, like myself, suggest that Shakespeare actually wrote certain characters specifically for himself to act. 2 examples are the ghost of Hamlet's father and Old John in As You Like It.
Hast thou done yet?
Almost.
Shakespeare studied the Greek and Roman playwrights in his grammar school at Stratford, and he based his 5-act format on the Roman Plautus, who in turn borrowed from the Greeks, especially Sophocles.
In all classical plays and in most Elizabethan plays, a prologue was introduced before the action to acquaint the audience with both characters and plot.
Aha! I knew you'd get to me.
Too unfair, I was here first.
True, but the prologue always goes first.
That is in Shakespeare's case. Shakespeare only wrote prologues for less than 1/3 of his plays. He preferred to let the actors tell the stories for themselves.
Oh, give me strength.
And the university wits like Robert Greene called Shakespeare an upstart crow and said he was unschooled. Of course, not many people have heard of Robert Greene's plays these days.
However, Shakespeare did write some beautiful prologues. And now, patient audience,
And impatient actors.
we'll begin our action with excerpts from several plays: Pericles, Henry V, and Henry VII.
I shower a welcome on you, welcome all. Your presence glads our days, honor we love. For who hates honor hates the gods above. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the greatest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of Rome? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very tumult that did fill the air of Glamis? Let us on your imaginary forces work. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Think, when we talk of horses, that you may see them, printing their proud hooves in the receiving earth, for 'tis your thoughts that must now deck our kings. Carry them here and there, jumping over times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. Prepare for mirth becomes a feast. Your princes and my guests, good gentles, your humble patience we pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player who struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more.
Like a dull actor now, I have forgot my part, and I am out, even to a fool of disgrace.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in his nurse's arms. And then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like a furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. And then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like a pod, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice in fair round belly, with good cape and line, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he too plays his part. The 6th A shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank and his big, manly voice, turning again towards childish trebles, pipes, and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, to end this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
That was the famous 7 Ages of Fancy from As You Like It.
I didn't like it.
With a few interruptions in Macbeth and Coriolanus.
Did you know that Shakespeare made his fortune not from the plays which he never published, but from being part owner and manager of the Old Globe Theater?
The Old Globe could hold over 2,500 playgoers, and they were a noisy bunch. We have in our audiences today.
The most unruly part of Elizabethan audiences were the ground players.
So
groundlings disapproved of the action of a play, they would make rude noises or
Sometimes one would even get up on Shakespeare knew his audiences well, especially the groundlings, since he was probably one as a boy in Stratford.
So he often learned scenes to cheer and appease the groundlings.
A good example of this is the scene in Macbeth, which comes directly after the spine-tingling and intensely dramatic murder of King Duncan.
Shakespeare inserted a comic relief to relax his audiences and heightened emotions to present someone whom the groundlings could relate.
A working man, uneducated, freezing cold, and more than a little tipsy.
Be seated, good groundlings, and enjoy Shakespeare's comic relief in the drunken porter scene from Macbeth.
Here is a knocking indeed. If a man were porter of Hellgate, he should have much turning of the key. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there in the name of Beelzebub? Ah, here's a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of good crops, but low prices. Come in, here you may sweat for it. Knock, knock. Who's there in the other devil's name? Faith, here is a judge who could swear in both scales against each other, yet he could not judge his way to heaven. Oh, come in, oh judge. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Faith, here's an English tailor who has come here for stealing from his customers. Come in, here you may roast your goose. Knock, knock, knock. Never quiet. What are you? But this place is too cold for hell. I'll play the devil porter no longer. I had thought to have let in some of all professions that go down the primrose path to the everlasting bonfire. Anon, anon. I pray you remember the porter.
Was it so late, friend? Ere you went to bed that you died so late?
Aye, sir. We were carousing until the second cock. And drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things.
What three things does drink especially provoke?
Red noses, sleep, and urine.
Oh. I believe drink gave thee the lie last night.
I did, sir. In the very throat of me.
How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted in states unborn and accents yet unknown? Antonius.
Caesar.
I want men about me that are fat, sleek-headed men, such as sleep at night. Yon Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous.
Fear him not, Caesar. He is a noble Roman and well given.
I would that he were fatter. I do not know the man I should avoid so soon as that spare Cassius. He reads much. He is a great observer and looks quite to the deeds of men. He loves no plays, as thou dost, Antony. He hears no music, and seldom he smiles in such a way as if he mocked himself, that his spirit could be moved to smile at anything. Such men as he be never at heart's ease when they behold a greater than themselves, and therefore are they very dangerous.
Speak hands for me!
Et tu, Brute? Then fall, Caesar.
Liberty, freedom, tyranny is dead! Run hence, proclaim, cry it about the street!
Citizens, senators, be not afraid. Fly not. Stand still. Ambition's debt is paid.
Elizabethan audiences enjoy bloody scenes and tales of horror, like the ones you just witnessed, and Shakespeare wrote a lot of them into his plays. In this tragedy, Julius Caesar, Shakespeare employs another staging technique to keep the groundlings in order. Modern drama students call it street theater. That is, when the audience unwittingly become part of the action themselves. So now, dear audience, by the magic of theater, you have become the citizens of Rome and will hear one of Shakespeare's most memorable speeches, Mark Antony's funeral oration.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears! I'm here to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives on after them. The good is often interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you that Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it were a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered for it. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought back many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When the poor cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, Brutus is an honorable man. Thrice I presented him with a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? And yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, Brutus is an honorable man. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you to mourn for him now? O judgment, thou art fled to Brutus' feast, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar. I must pause till it come back to me.
Methinks there's much reason in his sayings.
If thou consider rightly of the matter, Caesar has had great wrong.
Has he, masters? I fear there will come a worse in his place.
Poor soul, his eyes are red as fire with weeping.
He's not a nobler man of Rome than Antony.
Now mark him as he begins again to speak. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I shall do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who you all know were honorable men, and I will not do them wrong. But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar on it. I found it in his closet. 'Tis his will. Let but the citizens hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. Instead Caesar's wounds.
We'll hear the will. Read it, Mark Antony.
The will! The will! We will hear Caesar's will!
Have patience, gentle friends. I must not read it. It is not right for you to know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stone, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you. It'll make you mad.
Read the will. We'll hear it, Mark Antony. Shall read us the will. Caesar's will.
Yeah. Will you have patience? Will you stay a while? I've o'ershocked myself to tell you of it. I fear I have wronged those honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it.
They were traitors, not honorable men.
The will! The testament!
You will compel me to read the will?
Yes!
Shall I descend?
Yes!
Will you give me leave?
Come down!
Descend, room for Antony, most noble Antony.
Stand back! Room! Bear back!
You have tears. Prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. And look in this place. Ran Cassius' dagger through. Through this, the well-beloved Brutus stabbed. And as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it. For Brutus, you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, oh you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all.
Oh, pity spectacle!
Oh, noble Caesar!
Oh, woeful day! Oh, traitors, villains!
Almost bloody sight!
We will be revenged!
Revenge! About! Yeah!
Stay, countrymen!
Speak out! Hear noble Antony speak!
Good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done this deed are honorable. They are wise and honorable, and will no doubt answer you with reasons. I come not to steal away your heart. I only speak right on. Tell you that which you yourselves do know. Show you sweet Caesar's wounds, and bid them speak for me. We'll mutiny!
We'll burn the house of Brutus!
Hear me, countrymen! Hear me speak! Keep Why, friends, you go to do you know not what. You have forgot the will I every Roman citizen, to every several man he gives 75 drachma.
Most noble Caesar will revenge his death.
Hear me with patience.
No.
Moreover, he hath left you all his walks, his newly planted orchards and private arbors on this side of the Tiber. He hath left them to you and your heirs forever. Here was a Caesar. When comes another?
Never, never. Come away, away. We'll burn his body in the holy place, and with the brands fires, traitors' houses. Take up the body.
Yeah, catch fire.
Now let it work. Mischief thou art afoot. Take what course thou wilt.
Actors in Shakespeare's day did not enjoy the admiration as they do now. Actors, or players as they were considered, were to be considered a little above pickpockets and other riffraff.
You young ladies would never dream of bringing an actor home for dinner. For this reason, and because actors led a physically rough and tumble life, it was unheard of for a woman to appear on stage.
So, who played all those beautiful women parts like Juliet, Catherine, and Lady Macbeth? Well, young boys whose voice had not yet changed, and they were not yet old enough to grow a beard.
Here, Peter Quince. Flute, you must take Thisbe on you. What's Thisbe? A wandering knight? It is the lady that Pyramus must love. Nay, faith, let me not play a woman. I have a beard. Coming. That's all one. You shall play it in a mask and speak as small as you will.
That was poor Peter Quince, the struggling manager of A Midsummer's Night's Dreams. I'm afraid his troubles are not over yet, as we shall soon see. Getting back to the women's roles, Shakespeare was one of the very first playwrights to take women seriously and to give their roles full dimension. On the other hand, the men's roles far outnumbered the women's by almost 10 to 1. I guess this was because it was hard to train the boys in the actor's craft before they outgrew their roles. One twist of plot, which Shakespeare often employed, was the disguising of his women into men. Considering that his women were actually boys, this is not too surprising. In plays such as You Like It and Twelfth Night, Shakespeare's heroines are constantly jumping into tunics and tights. Take, for instance, this scene from Merchant of Venice.
Come on, Nerissa. I have a plan in mind you yet know not of. We'll see our husbands before they think of us.
Well, shall they see us?
They shall, Nerissa, but in such clothing that they shall think we are accomplished young men. I'll hold thee any wager that when we are both dressed as young men, I'll prove the prettier fellow of the two, and wear my dagger with a braver grace, and speak in a voice between the change of a man and a boy, and turn 2 mincing steps into a manly stride, and speak a phrase like a fine bragging youth, and tell quaint lies, how honorable ladies sought my love, which I, denying, they fell sick and died. Then I'll repent and wish that for all that I had not killed them. 20 of these puny lies I'll tell that men will swear I've been out of school but over a year. I have in my mind 1,000 raw tricks of these bragging jacks which I will practice.
But why shall we turn to men?
Oh, fie, what a question. But come, I'll tell thee my whole device that I'm in my coach, which stays for us at the park gate. And therefore, haste, for we must measure 20 miles today.
What-ho, bottom, flute, starbling, snug and snout, come forth.
We're all here, Peter Quince. Never fear, we're all here.
Masters, here are your parts, and I request you, entreat you, and desire you to learn them by tomorrow night, and meet me in the palace wood, a mile without the town, by moonlight. There we will rehearse, for if we meet in the city, we shall be dogged with company and our devices known. In the meantime, I will draw a bill of property such as our play wants. I pray you, fail me not.
We will meet, and here we may rehearse most obscenely and courageously. Take pains, be perfect. Adieu.
At the Duke's Oak we meet.
Enough! Hold, or cut bowstrings.
In Shakespeare's day, there was no director as we have come to know him today. One of the members of the acting company would take on the often nerve-wracking job of manager and direct his fellow actors through entrances, exits, and cues.
They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
Interpretation of role, business, and stage movements were left up to the stage manager himself. That is why there's so little stage movements and directions in Elizabethan plays. Shakespeare, who may have been a manager himself, poked good-natured fun in the comic person of Peter Quince.
And so he too plays his part.
A ham actor like Bottom struggles to interpret the comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe, as seen and written by Shakespeare in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Peter Quince,
What sayest thou, Bully Bottom?
there are things in this comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe which will never please. First, Pyramus must draw a sword to kill himself, which the ladies cannot abide. How answer you that?
By Our Lady of Perilous Fear.
I believe we must leave all killing when it is done.
Not a whit. I have a device to make all well. Write me a prologue, and let the prologue seem to say that we will do no harm with our swords, and that Pyramus is not killed indeed. And for better assurance, tell them that I, Pyramus, am not Pyramus, but Bottom the Weaver. This will put them out to fear.
Well, we will have such a prologue, and it shall be written in lines of 8 and 6 syllables.
No, make it 2 more. Let it be written in lines of 8 and 8.
Won't the ladies be afeard of the lion?
I feared, I promise you.
Masters, you ought to consider with yourselves to bring, oh God, shield us. A lion among ladies is a most terrible thing, for there is not a more fearful wild fowl than your lion living. We ought to look to it.
Therefore, another prologue must tell that he is not a lion.
Nay, you must name his name, and half his face should be seen through the lion's neck, and he himself must speak through, saying thus: Ladies, or fair ladies, I would wish you, or I would entreat you, or I would request you not to fear, not to tremble, my life or yours. If you think I come hither as a lion, it were a pity of my life. No, I am no such thing. I am a man, as other men are. There indeed, let him name his name and tell them plainly he is Snug the Joiner. Bravo!
Yes. It shall be so. But there are 2 hard things in this play of Pyramus and Thisbe. That is, to bring moonlight into the great chamber, for Pyramus and Thisbe meet by moonlight.
Doth the moon shine the night we play our play?
Oh, a calendar! Look in the almanac. Find out moonshine. Find out moonshine.
Yes!
Oh!
That night.
Why then, may you leave a casement of the great chamber window where we play open, and the moon may shine in at the casement.
Aye, or else one must come in with a bush of thorns and a lantern and say he comes to portray the person of moonshine.
I don't know.
That's fair. Then there is another thing. We must have a wall in the great chamber, for Pyramus and Thisbe, says the story, did talk through a chink in the wall.
You can never bring in a wall. What say you, Bottom?
Some man or other must present wall, and let him have some plaster about him to signify wall, and let him hold his fingers thus, and through that cranny shall Pyramus and Thisbe whisper.
If that may be so, then all is well. Come sit down, every mother's son, and rehearse your parts. Pyramus,
you begin. When you've spoken your speech, enter into that break, and so everyone according to his cue.
What hempen homespuns have we swaggering here? So near the cradle of the fairy queen? What? A play rehearsal? I'll be an audience, an actor too, perhaps, if I pause.
Speak, Paramus. Thisbe, stand forth.
Thisbe, the flowers of odious, save us, sweet.
Odorous. Odorous. Odorous.
Odors, save us, sweet. So hath thy breath, my dearest Thisbe dear. But hark, a voice. Stay thou but here a while, and by I will to thee appear.
A stranger Pyramus that never played here.
Must I speak now? Aye, marry must you. For you must understand, he goes but to see a noise which he has heard and is to come again.
Most radiant Pyramus, most lily white of hue, as truest horse, that yet would never tire. I'll meet thee, Pyramus, at Ninny's tomb.
Ninny's tomb, man. You must not speak that yet. That you answer to Pyramus. You speak all your part at once, cues and all. Pyramus, enter. Your cue is past. It is never tire.
Most truest horse, that yet would never tire.
I look there, Thisbe. I were only died.
Oh, monstrous!
What?
Oh, strange!
There's something on my face.
Eve, what an ass! We are haunted! Brain bastards! Fly bastards! Help!
I'll follow you around. I'll lead you around through bog, bush through break through briar. Sometimes a horse I'll lead, sometimes a hound.
Why do they run away? This is a knavery of them to make me afeard.
Not all managers were as befuddled as Peter Quince. In Hamlet, Shakespeare's most psychological tragedy, the playwright introduces a company of young players into the scene to further the plot by getting Hamlet to realize he knows why his father was murdered and why.
Oh, the world is saved.
That's over and done with. We are almost at the end.
Well, thank heaven.
In Hamlet's speech to the players, we hear the best advice for acting Shakespeare from the man who should know, Shakespeare himself.
The play's the thing, wherein who catch the conscience of the king.
My honored lord.
My excellent good friend, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, my good lads, how do ye both?
As the indifferent children of the earth.
Happy in that we are not over happy.
My lord, we met with a company of players on our way, and hither they coming to offer you service.
Well, he that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute of me. The adventurous knight shall use his sword and shield. The lover shall not sigh in vain. The humorous man shall speak his part without interruption. The clown shall make those laugh whose lungs are easily tickled. And the lady shall say her mind freely. What players are they?
Those you used to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city. They are, sir, a brood of children, little unfledged hawks, that cry out of the top of their lungs, and are most extravagantly clapped for it. These are now the fashion, that many wearing rapiers are afraid of goose quills, and scarce come thither.
What are they, children? Who maintains them? How are they supported? Do they do well? Do the boys carry it away?
Aye, that they do, my lord. Hercules and his load too. The very globe itself.
There are the players.
Well, Gentlemen, you are welcome in Elsinore.
We'll be with you, gentlemen.
Hark you, Guildenstern, and you too, as each ear a hearer. I will prophesy. He comes to tell me of the players. Mark it.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Buzz, buzz.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral comical, historical pastoral, tragical historical, tragical comical historical pastoral, scene indivisible, or poem unlimited.
Gentlemen, you are welcome. Welcome all. I am glad to see thee well. Why, my old friend! Why, thou hast begun a beard since I saw thee last. Hast thou comest to beard me in Denmark? Why, my young lady and mistress, by our lady, your ladyship is near to heaven by the very altitude of her shoes. Pray, your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked within the ring. Gentlemen, you are welcome. Now, you will see that the players are well bestowed, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, it is better a bad epitaph than an ill report while you live.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We will hear a play tomorrow night. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
And you could, if you had need, insert some dozen or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in it, could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. We will hear it tomorrow night. Follow that lord. Look you, mock him not. Gentlemen, I will leave you till tonight. You are welcome in Elsinore.
God be with thee.
Good, my lord.
Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Oh, vengeance, why, what an ass am I! It is most brave that I, the son of dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must unpack my heart with words and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a scullion. Fie upon it! About my brain, I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have, by the very cunning of the scene, been so struck to the soul that they proclaim their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous an organ. I will have these players play something, like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I'll probe him to the quick. But if he blanch, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil, and the devil hath the power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps abuses me to damn me. I will have grounds more relative than this. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it as many of our players do, I would rather the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air with your hands, thus, but use all gently. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a periwig-pated fellow tear passion to tatters, to bury rags, to split the ears of the groundlings who, for the most part, are capable of none other than inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for overdoing it. Pray you, avoid it.
I warrant your honor.
But be not too tame, neither. But let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word, and the word to the action. There be players that I have seen play that others have praised, that have so strutted and bellowed about the stage, that I thought some of nature's journeymen had made men, and not made them well. They imitated humanity so abominably.
I hope we reform that indifferently with us, sir.
Or reform it altogether! And let those that play your clowns speak no more than is set for them. Go! Make you ready. The play is the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
And so, good audience, we come to the end of this, our play. But before we get thee hence, we have one bit of business left, the epilogue. The epilogue ties up the play in a neat little package, and so we tie up ours with a sampling of epilogues from The Midsummer Night's Dream and The Tempest.
If we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear.
Our revels now have ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air, and like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself. Yes, all which it inherits shall dissolve and leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little lives are rounded with a sleep.
So give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall make amends.
Very well!